Good morning. It's Muhammad Ibrahim from Melbourne. I want to pre-record my presentation. I'm an ICT person, so I believe in backup. So if everything goes well, I will be doing this live. But if not, you can watch this, and probably you can also then email me or ask questions later on. Well, let's start. My topic is kind of wrap up and the final remarks over the last 2 days conference. So I will go through a lot of ideas. Some of it you already heard, some of it might be new, but in any case, here we go. What really I'm talking about is the future of money in the era of central bank digital currency. So CBDCs, hot issue, but before we get there, I just want to set the scene, and what we're talking about really is money in general and what's happening to money as we know. I'm putting that bit pessimistic view of saying money has started with shells, the kina in Papua New Guinea, or sticks, or whatever else people used to use thousands of years ago, to modern money where central banks started helping governments and uh, basically making the money we know, the fiat currencies and so on. We're all familiar with the M0 to M2, M1, M3, what have you. I don't want to repeat all of that. And then we hit the modern money theory where we're saying we can print as much money as we want. Again, just to remind ourselves where the background, all of this is all the way to where we are today, cryptos, CBDCs, and so on. And the reason I'm saying pessimistic is the way things are going in these interesting times, we might end up going back to the shells and the kina and back to square one. No, I'm not that pessimistic. I believe in technology will somehow work, although I'm doing a backup just in case something goes wrong. But more seriously, let's continue with what I really want to talk about, which is quickly remind ourselves where we came from, shells and kina and what have you, all the way to fiat currencies and all the other different formats of currencies to where we are today, Bitcoin and cryptos and mobile money. And you know the full story, so I don't have to repeat that. But what's interesting though, and what I really want to mention, is the following. In terms of the evolution of money, we hit something called mobile money. And guess what? Mobile money actually starts from developing countries. Kenya, M-Pesa, remember all those things. So for a change, instead of the developed countries, Europe, US, Japan, whatever, coming up with technologies and innovations, for a change, we in Africa also came up with something called M-Pesa from Kenya, and now it's going global and so on. But all of this is really to set the scene. But what I'm really want to remind you is that's a very serious issue now. As you can see, only the last 2 years, 2019 and 2020, you can see the volumes of money going through that. So the world should take notice. On the other hand, this small print, it shows the ridiculous idea of still continuing to print money. Why are we printing money? Fiat currency, notes, coins in the era of COVID-19, even becoming a health issue. So that chart is quickly from Australia, and actually we spend money to make money. Just to make the $1, $2 costs us 7.7 cents, and as you can see, there was a budget of 877 million just to print money, notes, mint coins. Can you believe this? In any case, let's move on and see why this issue is really important and why we have to talk about the idea that says the future of money is really digital. There are even quotes that are disputed, whether it was Bill Gates or someone else who said, we don't need banks, but we need banking. So therefore, we might not need money, as we know, notes and coins, but we just need a value, a way of doing the three functions of money, basically, is sort of value, exchange of goods, and then also using it basically as a measure, account unit. But also now we had another one, is to control people, but that's another story, and we'll get there as well. So all these names, as you can see, the financial inclusion people, the banks, the ITU, the UN agencies, everyone is involved in one way or another. Why? Because the UN Sustainable Development Goals 17 of them, if you look at these, almost 8 of them deal with financial inclusion. Here's the importance of money, whether it is the mobile money or CBDCs, in financial inclusion. What is financial inclusion? We're talking about everyone having access to financial services, all the rich and the powerful, but also every other human being on the globe. Now, if we continue, what I really want to show you is what's happening to the trend in terms of, very quickly, I just want to show you that mobile money itself went through version 1, 2 to 2.5. These are my theories, so don't ask for references. Basically, I'm researching this area, so I'm developing a theory that says mobile money went from national to regional to global, and now we're doing payments across countries and so on. But really where we are going is with this other idea of the digital money, which we are calling central bank digital currencies. What are they? What is CBDC? Why is it important? Why everyone is talking about it? Why some people are not talking about it? The US, Australia, they're still researching, thinking about it. China, they're already doing it. Will that make a difference? We'll have to wait and see. But personally, I think the game is up. The trend is irreversible. Why? Because as you can see, a lot of countries are already doing it. The only question is, should the governments do it, or should we allow the private sector, the Googles, the Facebooks, all these other rich and powerful companies? What's going to happen to us, citizens? Should we use the money from the governments or use the private sector? So yes, the trend is irreversible. As you can see, these two graphs are from the GSMA. A lot of money going through that. Don't want to worry about that for the time being. I think that one is foregone conclusion. Mobile money is going from local to global. That's also now established. I don't have to even talk about it as a theory. It's right there in front of us. The figures are showing. But if we really keep moving, the main thrust, the main idea of what I really want to talk about, and since this is just a backup and really not the real presentation I'm going to do tomorrow to wrap up this discussion, what I really want to talk about is, what is it? What is CBDC, Central Bank Digital Currency? What is it? What is it for? By whom? To whom? Do we need it? And all those things. So more of that in the live presentation tomorrow, but just in case, since I'm an IT person and in case something goes wrong, this might be the real presentation. Let me also then cover some of the ideas I will share tomorrow with you, but here they are. See, my belief is CBDCs are way overdue. So for all of you central bankers who are watching me and attending this conference or might watch this later on, there's no going back. People are voting with their feet. As I walk in Camberwell Junction, I see so many banking services with less people or even closing their doors. People want digital. It's natural. That's where things are. But who's digital? And in this case, central bank and digital currency, should we go with wholesale or retail? These are all the differences, and I will explain more later on, or you can read about it. There are a lot of people doing research in this. I want to mention Richard Turner in China, a lot of other people who are really writing books about this. But so are universities, although academia is always pretty slow in this area, but people are seriously looking into this. So what is really CBDs? And we all know this idea about flower money and all these other Venn diagrams and so on. But if you look at the right hand or your left, it's really the gray area. That's where the CBDCs fit in. So what we're really talking about is the banks are saying, look, we don't want to wait for Google and Facebook coming into our area and making money and taking, basically, they want to have a skin in the game. That's really the bottom line. So they will go, there's no way of going back. But really the tension and the competition is coming from the private sector, where already we have seen Facebook's attempt with the Libra, and now they're doing the DM and so on. I don't think that will ever go back. Google will do it, other companies will do it. A lot of other probably entities will come up with an idea to come up with some other form of money. Money can no longer be a monopoly of central banks alone. Why? Because people are asking for it. So where are we? Australia, USA thinking about it, having task forces, studying it and so on. EU already asked their citizens, and people are saying, look, they're concerned about the integrity or their private their data and so on. So privacy is a major issue, but the technicalities, people agree. Sweden already moving on. They don't want to be in cash anymore, and so many other countries. So this Venn diagram again is from the Australian Reserve Bank, and they're talking about where does CBDCs fit in, are they retail or wholesale? So the question is no longer whether there will be CBDCs, it's really which one should come first and how and so on. So interesting times. And other studies show, and I want to thank John Keefe here, who used to be with IMF, who's keeping a log. He's actually showing almost daily what countries are joining and doing something about this. So it's no longer theory. Now, I will mention a couple of other things. Is there a step after this? Where are we going with this? In other words, what's going to happen to money as we knew? Whether it was all the way from shells through coins and notes and the fiat currencies, and the digital, the mobile money, and now we're talking about CBDCs, where the question will be what happens to banks as we knew. If I'm in Australia, we have 4 big banks. I call them the too big to fail because they have some crazy policies like de-risking, where they can shut down your account and do whatever they want. It's just too powerful. But the good news is there might be freedom soon. We might be getting money straight from the central bank, so I don't have to worry about some intermediary, some other entity making money out of the citizen. And that's really the good news. That's why it's important. The other thing I want to mention is, as we move to CBDCs, and those central bankers don't get upset with me, but really this was something that you could have done a long time ago, because it was so obvious. You know, to me, it was just the logical next step. Why do we need all this bureaucracy and all these layers for something that was straightforward? Just moving something from paper to digital. Yes, there are privacy issues, there's IT issues, there's risk issues, there's all these other issues, but the benefits are more, they're greater than the cost, in which case we have to move. Yes, we know governments are always slow. They have to use their mechanisms, parliaments, legislations, debates. But for the next generation, they won't wait. They want to move on. So that is really where CBDC will fit in. That's how I see it. It will reduce a lot of problems, things like criminality, financial corruptions, all those things, even enhance financial inclusion. It will. There's no argument about that. Why? Because just let me show you just a quick example of where I'm getting these ideas from. If we move forward, we can see, for example, in the US, they're trying this digital dollar project. They call Fed now. I like the US. I have friends and family links there, and nothing in that area. It's not politics or personal, but really that Fed now, I call it Fed when. In Australia, at least, we're a step ahead in that case because almost every Australian citizen has a bank account. But in the US, even when the government was trying to help, and through the COVID, there was all this mechanism in here. There was job keeper, job seeker, and so on. But in the US, they were trying to do the digital dollar, but it didn't happen. Why? Because people didn't have access to financial services. So to summarize, central bank digital currencies are here to stay. We just have to get used to it. We just have to do it. And it will solve lots and lots of problems. It will solve the cross-border payments problem. It will cause the criminality in financial services. It will increase financial inclusions, and so on. Now, why am I saying that? Because I've been watching this for a while, and I want to conclude with this quote that the electric light did not come from the continuous improvement of candles. I want to leave it there. I didn't even want to go into the cryptos and that last picture of the Doji coin and what have you, but I will leave it there, and I want to thank you. I hope we won't need to play this video, but if so, then I'll be still available to answer your questions. It's just a backup video, and I want to thank you all. I want to thank my friends from Swinburne University, from ACU, from Melbourne University, from Monash and Deakin and all those 4 universities. And if there are any questions, I'm here. So I'll leave you with that, and I hope I didn't create a lot of controversies. It's Mohammed. Have a nice day. Thank you.